pure experiences.
So today's topic is path of knowledge. If you recall, we had an earlier meeting where we discussed the path of knowledge, but it was somewhat very basic and very short meeting. I just gave only the most essential um, matter about path of knowledge. In this meeting, because this is a repeat topic, and to make it less boring, to make it sound less repetitive, I'm going to go into a little bit of advanced material today, which was not covered in the last meeting. So we'll start with the definitions as usual. And when we talk about path of knowledge, the very first question that comes up is, what is knowledge? What do I mean by knowledge? And it will be surprising for you that many people actually have no idea what knowledge is, because this word is never studied in depth in schools or colleges or anywhere. Only when you take a philosophy as your subject, the word is given some good treatment, and only if you take up advanced philosophy, you will find that the word will be defined, and it will be defined in various ways. That will be another surprise, that you will find that people disagree on the meaning of the very word of knowledge. There is confusing amount of knowledge about this word. So for an ordinary person, knowledge means whenever there is a question and the answer is obtained, the answer arrives to that question, then whatever the person has gained becomes his knowledge. This is the common meaning of the word. So, for example, if I need to know how to cook something, a dish, and there is a recipe book there, and it is written there how to cook it, and I follow it step by step, and that becomes my knowledge. Now I know how to cook something. And there was a question, how to cook XYZ, and I got the answer, and that is my knowledge. And let us say, if you want to know, let's say, which road goes to a particular city or place, and we ask around, and somebody tells you that, okay, take left, take right, and then take more left and rights, and you will arrive there, and then that becomes our knowledge. So the same way, when you go to school, whatever is written in the books, whatever the teacher says, becomes our knowledge. That is the common day-to-day meaning of knowledge. When the question is asked and the answer arrives, we say that we have gained knowledge. From the point of view of a seeker, this is kind of very shallow definition. This won't work. This won't work at all when you are on the path of knowledge. You need to first know what is the real meaning of this word. Otherwise, you will be traveling some other path, not the path of knowledge. So let us, for example, see if I have a question and I'm looking for an answer as a seeker, and I find it written in some book, or I Google it, or I ask somebody who is smarter than me, what is the answer, and I get the answer. Has it become my knowledge? Think about it. I have heard some words, I read some words, and now can I safely assume that I know the thing that was conveyed to me? It is very slippery. This is what we usually call as knowledge, because this has been our conditioning, that what has been told is knowledge, and we actually delay the actual treatment, actual evaluation of what we learn for into future. Sometimes we never actually evaluate what we learn. Somebody tells us, okay, don't eat this food, it can cause that kind of disease, or take this medicine, it will cure your this kind of disease, and we are very quick to follow. we think now that we have the answer, and then we take the action. And most of the life of an ordinary person is spent like this. In their childhood, their parents tell them, what to do, what to take up as your subjects, what to do in your life, what kind of job you should do, where you should live, even whom you should marry, and how many children you should have, and what should you name them, and where should you, in which school you should send your children. Now everybody else is deciding for a particular person, and the person spends his or her life without any clue about the things that people are telling. You turn on the TV, and whatever is on the TV is nothing but truth. No, I'm just joking. But that is what an average person thinks. Whatever the TV is telling you is the truth. And you turn on, open a book, very big book, spiritual book, and that is 5,000 years old. And very quickly we assume that everything, each and every word that is written in that book is absolute truth. Now this is the misconception about the word knowledge that everybody has, and a seeker needs to clean this up. It is not actually very useful if you don't know what is knowledge and run after knowledge. What you will get is garbage, not knowledge. So let us clean it up, and let us have a concrete definition of the word knowledge. So you can adopt any definition by any good teacher, and I've done so. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my version. You need not adopt that. You need to even evaluate what I'm going to give you. It has to be your choice. It has to appeal to you. So what do I think is knowledge is knowledge is a form of experience that is nicely organized, that makes sense, that is consistent with our previous knowledge. So in short, knowledge is a structure in the memory that is correctly organized. And now we can go ahead and unzip this statement a little bit. What do I mean by experience? Actually, I do not need to repeat this, because you have been listening to this experiencer, and all these things since many meetings now. So you exactly know what is an experience. So whatever the experiencer is going through right now, right here, is our experience, whatever is happening. So when you organize what you are experiencing into a structure that is nice, logical, consistent, true, and useful, that structure is called knowledge. It is the technical definition. It has been very useful for me. You can come up with other definitions. You can come up with probably more clear definitions of the word knowledge. But I found this useful, and so I'm sharing it with you. And it is, honestly speaking, it is the easiest definition. If you go and read the definitions in big fat books, probably it will take you one day to even comprehend what they are saying, which is okay. I mean, probably there are more refined definitions, but this has proven to be very useful for me. And once I learned this definition, it became very, very clear what I was doing on on the path of knowledge, or any spiritual path. And I found out that most of the things I was doing did not make any sense. So I actually, when I started this meetup, the first meeting was about path of knowledge. But many people are not even ready to understand what I'm saying now before giving them some even more fundamental things. Like when I say the knowledge is organized experience, then you need to know what is organization. You need to know what is experience. You need to know, from where all these words are coming from. So then I took few steps back, and when the meetings were restarted, first of all, I introduced you to the basic experience, the presence, and we came up to mind and memory. Now you have the founding structure to even know what is knowledge. Now you can call that knowledge properly. So you will notice that There are words like mind and memory, organization, structure, and experience here. I hope all of these words are crystal clear to you already. There is no fog in your mind about these words. Experience, you know what it is. Whatever that is not me is experience. And you know what is mind? It is a structure organized around memory. What is a memory? Memory is a metaphysical structure which is self-organized, which takes on impressions of other experiences. And so knowledge is just a very much organized experience. When an experience happens and it's impressed upon the memory in such a way that it communicates, it fits nicely with your previous experience, it can be called as your knowledge. So I'm going slightly technical, as I said. I'm going in slight detail this time because last time I did not cover this, and these things are written in the blog, but you see, if you start reading that article, most probably you'll fall asleep. It is written in a very dry manner. I don't know whether will be able to cover this topic today. So if I cannot, then there will be a part 2 of it. This is an important topic. Now, you know what is knowledge now, and examples of the knowledge. You see a thing that has 4 sides. There is a opening on the front. There are small openings on the sides, and there is a compound outside, and there is a pathway, and there is furniture inside, and there is food inside. There are bed inside. There is a bathroom inside. And once you have this experience, you organize it and you name it. You call it a house. What has happened here is you encountered something. You encountered a collection of objects. You found that there is a relation to among those objects. You find that all these objects are conveniences for living, and you make up a structure in your mind about you make up relations in your mind among those structures, and you name it. You give it a name, and the name is house. Now you go around and you will find many houses. They are all also your experiences, and there is something common in all those experiences. So you name all of them as houses. Some are different, some are big, some are small, but it is a capability of the mind to abstract the essence, and this essence becomes a class, a category. So all those experiences can be placed into a category, and we call that category, in our example, for example, we can call it a house. Now you can differentiate all the houses, and you will know what is your own house, which one is your own house. You will have no doubts about it. Why? Because you have a concrete experience of your own house. When somebody says house, our question is, whose house? Are you talking about my house or somebody else's house? Because we don't have any doubt that house is just a concept in the mind. The real house is either my house or your house or somebody else's house, or this house or that house. So knowledge will always point to an experience. Try it out. Knowledge will never point to a concept. So let us say, for example, I give you a name of a car, and then I ask you, do you know this car? And if you have never experienced that car, you are going to say, no, I don't know. But now you know the name. But can you say that knowing the name of that car is actual knowledge? No, unless you see the car, the name will be a concept, and there will be a darkness behind that name. There won't be anything. There won't be any experience. It will be empty there. So you can apply this, very common sense thing, but obviously common sense stops when you go to the spiritual field. There the common sense is found very rarely. So when somebody tells you, let's say for example, consciousness comes out of nothingness, let's say some very big guru is saying something like this. Now I'm not going to ask you whether this really holds or not, but if you have never experienced this thing, that the consciousness actually comes from nothingness, can you take this statement as true? Can you say that, yes, this is now somebody has said it and now it has become my knowledge that the consciousness comes from nothingness? Actually, I just made it up, so don't worry about the truth of the statement right now. I'm just giving you an example. So you will find that the common sense works very nicely in the day-to-day matters, the matters of survival, human life. It works nicely. When I give you the name of the car and you are very, very clear that you don't know the car, you need to see it first. At least you need to see a photo. But when the spiritual statement is made, when the names are thrown at you, even scientific statements actually, then there is a tendency in our minds to simply accept them, not ask for an experience, not wait for an experience. So you will find a very um, important observation here. We are making a very important observation, and that is, experience is always needed when you talk about knowledge. And you can very confidently say that knowledge always comes from an experience. The other things that we hear, which are just words, sentences, written or oral, or even the pictures sometimes, they are just concepts. Once you make a distinction between knowing a name and knowing an experience, your mind will start functioning. Your mind will become clear. Your mind will become as clear as more water, clear water. You can see through your mind. If you start confusing names and concepts with actual things, the mind will become muddy. Very, very quickly it will gather all sorts of garbage from around. So you have this thing is most important to keep in mind when we are talking about knowledge. It has to point to an experience, otherwise it's not knowledge. What is it? If you know something and there is no experience behind it, then what do we call it? There are different names, and one of the name is ignorance, assumption, theory, or a lie.
Or a belief, right?
A belief, obviously. You simply assume something, and just because there is a name, you think, oh, I know this, and it becomes a belief. It is called ignorance. Now you have a faint knowing there. You think you know, but actually you cannot find anything behind that knowledge. It has no base. It has no foundation. Nothing. So it is a belief. It is a belief. And there are many examples of beliefs. So let us say, I say that apple is a good source of vitamin C. Now I don't know actually. I'm just making an example up. Maybe it is a good source. Who knows? Now you start eating apples, thinking that it is a good source of vitamin C, and I'm benefiting. Very good. Very good. Yes, understanding is, I think, it is a synonym for knowledge. I mean, the way I'm taking it. So understanding is a complex series of experiences which give you full knowledge, complete knowledge. Let us say you are a car mechanic, and let us say you know how different parts work. And an ordinary person may know how one or two things work, and that can be their knowledge. But the ordinary person cannot say that they understand the working of a car. So only a mechanic who has gone through all the nuts and bolts of the car, all parts, has a full understanding of the. So I take understanding as meaning knowledge, but very complete, thorough knowledge. So I was giving you an example that. What was the example?
An apple, vitamin C.
Yeah. So do you know anything about vitamin C? Or can you see the vitamin C in the apple? Or can you even find out whether it is doing anything in your body? If you can, then yes, that knowledge has become your experience now. That information has become your experience, and it is correct. If you cannot, and you simply going on eating apples for based on this belief, then it's kind of useless, isn't it? I mean, it is not harmful. Then let us, I've taken very childish example. Let's take another example, which is a serious example. Some people have this belief that more money gives them more happiness. Now, you will find they spend their whole lives running after money, more and more and more. It is true that the money gives us comfort. Money is needed for, basic needs. When you add the word more in front of money, it becomes a belief. And people run after, getting more and more and more. But it does not matter what their experience is telling. They have this very, very strong belief that I need to do this, otherwise I won't be happy. And maybe that makes them happy. Who knows? I mean, it depends on your experience. But and this, I've seen this kind of belief there. And this is harmful for the person, but may not be harmful for others. But let us say there are more harmful beliefs. Let us say a person who is very, very powerful believes that his happiness will come from, ruling bigger areas. And if somebody is standing between his ambition and he's not able to get that because somebody is opposing it, the belief leads to a war. The belief leads to killing people. And these kind of people are known as kings. So you can find out what kind of damage they have done to human society, the kings, because of this belief. Anyway, so these are serious examples of ignorance and knowledge. We saw that experience is the key. Experience is the key word here. If you have experience, then you can claim that you have knowledge. So I'll then formally go into the sources of knowledge now. First source is obviously experience. What kind of experience? If you watch a video, if you watch a movie of something, is it a knowledge now? Probably yes. Sometimes it is, but not always. Let's say you want to fix your PC and you watch a video on how to fix the PC. You know all the names of the hardware and all the pieces. It is a kind of knowledge which we call as information. But when you actually apply that information and fix your PC, now the knowledge is there, and now the experience is there, and it has become your knowledge. Now you can say that I know how to fix my PC. And same for everything. If you listen to a teacher and the teacher is giving you a very nice detailed meditation technique, now is it your knowledge that the technique or whatever meditation is actually good and useful? No, unless you put it into practice it for years and years and years, and then only you will be able to claim that I know this meditation works. So not any kind of knowledge, direct knowledge, the living knowledge. And I'm using this word, direct knowledge or direct observation many times. So how do you know that you exist? Direct knowledge. You don't need to watch a video to know that. How do you know your consciousness? Direct knowledge. How do you know that mind is memory? Direct knowledge. No amount of videos or movies or books are going to convey this knowledge to you. They can point to this knowledge. They can give you the information. Once the information is there, the mind goes and looks for the experience, and if it can find the experience, it becomes the knowledge. So not any kind of experience, you see, only the direct experience. Not any kind of experience, but only the organized experience. And what do I mean by organized experience? Let us say you go to a new city, you are a tourist, and the whole day you move around the city, somebody is taking you, and in the evening, can you say that you know the whole city? By the evening, you have forgotten everything. You have forgotten the routes, you have forgotten the names of the places, and you only have few glimpses of what you did, what you saw. But then take the example of a taxi driver who has spent 10 years driving taxi in the same city. Can he say that he knows the city? Yes, surely, because the whole a city is now organized in his mind as knowledge, is very, very solid, has been experienced many, many times, nicely organized. But a tourist who has seen it for a few minutes, no, it is unorganized. It is just a glimpse of things. So yes, the understanding word again applies there. So if you have a deep knowledge of something, if you have something that is very well organized about a subject or topic, you can claim that I understand this, I comprehend this completely. So this not any kind of knowledge, only the organized and direct knowledge is the source of, only the organized and direct experience is the source of knowledge. Then what are other sources? If you go to tradition, if you read the scriptures, you will find that there are 4 sources that are prescribed. And the first is obviously the direct observation, direct knowledge. The second is logical deduction. And third is a teacher or a guru. And fourth is scripture or a book or text. And even the visual formats like videos and movies and audios. These are also valid sources of knowledge. Now I very boldly said that no amount of reading or listening and this is going to give you any kind of knowledge, which is true, isn't it? But then why do the scriptures, why do the ancient people, the wise people say that there are 4 sources and they are all valid? So let's go into that. Probably you already know. Let us take logical deduction. Let us take the example that of a unicorn. Let us say there is and you get the information that all unicorns are white, and then you meet me and I say, oh, my unicorn is also white. Now it is a logical conclusion for you. Oh yes, all unicorns are white and his unicorn is also white. He must be having a unicorn, a pet unicorn in his house. So is this correct? Is this because it is perfectly logical? It fits because all unicorns are white and my unicorn has to be white because all are white. So is it a true statement? Is it real knowledge? Because it sounds true. It is actually true. You cannot logically say that it is false. You will find that it is not knowledge because the required experience is missing. You need to experience at least one unicorn in order to even say that that all unicorns are white. You cannot simply assume that since it is logical, it is true. No, it is not true. There has to be an experience behind the logic. Empty logic is of no use. It is not experience. It is again a belief, you see. You will find many, many beliefs. They are, extremely logical. They look like they are logical, you see. But there has to be an experience behind the belief. Now, let's take the words of a teacher, Why is a teacher considered a valid source of knowledge? A teacher experiences something and it becomes the teacher's knowledge, and then the teacher communicates that knowledge to a student and invites the student to experience the same thing. Now you'll find that again the experience is the basis. The teacher is telling the student from his experience. If the teacher is not saying whatever he is saying, teaching from the experience, then a student, it will be kind of hopeless condition for the student to know it, because the student will never find that experience. So if a teacher communicates his knowledge from his own experience, then it becomes possible, at least there is some possibility that the student will also experience it and will know it. So again, experience is the key word behind the teachings from a guru or a teacher. No experience, he is not a teacher then. He is just an interpreter of scriptures. So that's why, a teacher is different from somebody who is just reading books to you. Most of the teachers in my school were like this. simply, made us open the book, start reading from this, page to this page, and done. And that is what they call knowledge. Anyway, so why are books or other media? Well, its source. Obviously, a book will be written by a human. More these days we don't know, but it will be written by a human, and that person will be writing that thing hopefully from his or her experience. If not, then it becomes fiction. It becomes a book of fairy tales, not a book which is full of information which you can experience and validate and know and use. So you need to judge the do not judge a book by its cover. Judge a book by the experiences it provides. These 4 sources of knowledge are there. If you can make use of it, use the information they provide. Information is kind of knowledge which is encoded into language, not into experiences, only languages. So you need to convert that language or the information, string of letters, into concrete experiences. Then they are useful. Then they are valid. Otherwise, they are not. So when you see these, 4 sources mentioned in the scriptures, do not get fooled by this. That I just need to read this book and then I'll be done. No. You must have read this many times about the universal mind and all. Even I keep saying, universal mind is this, universal mind is that, and there are so many layers in the universal mind, and there are hellish worlds, and there are heavenly worlds, and there are entities, and there are big books written about all these worlds and all these things. And once you read those books and once you hear the stories, is it your knowledge? Do you really know what is beyond this world? No, these are just stories. You need to actually see it, see a few instances of it, then logically, deduce, conclude the possibilities that there may be something like that. Otherwise, it is not. So many people skip this step of experiential verification. They do not never experiment. They assume that they have read the book. Now let us act on it, which is kind of blind belief. So now the book will be also organized in the memory. You see, the bookish knowledge, whatever you gain, the concepts, the names, imaginary things will also get organized into the mind, in the memory, and very nicely organized. Go to a Vastu Shastra or astrologer or such kind of, and I'm not saying that they are fake, but it is a kind of lost art now. Most of them are fake. So go to there, them, and they have a very detailed, in-depth knowledge, in quotes, of that Vastu or astrology or palmistry or whatever. And they will tell you exactly which line on your hand means what, and what is the implication of that, and your horoscope and all. And you will be very impressed. Wow, what a wonderful knowledge, this person has in-depth knowledge. Why so much nicely organized? There are technical names, and there are very logical sounding sentences that you have your Mercury in this house, and your Jupiter in that house, and that means you are going to get wealth if you go to the direction of west. And wow, it sounds logical. It has to be true, but try it. Try converting that so-called knowledge into experience, and then you will know what it is. So most of it, is airy-fairy stuff. A lot of things in the religion are also like this, unfortunately, and they are buried in between the truths which you can really experience. That is very unfortunate. So there are 4 sources, but experience lies behind all of them. Experience forms the base of all of them. There can be very well organized, structures which look like knowledge, but if you find it is a big house of cards, there is no foundation there. At least you can say no, there is some foundation. I've experienced it, such and such thing was right, and then it will become your knowledge, but not knowledge in general. So it needs to be experienced, even if it is fantastic, even if it is a total fairy tale. but you can experience it, you can say very confidently that it has been my knowledge. Otherwise not. Does not depend on how extraordinary the thing is, how magical the thing sounds. If you can experience it, it has to become your knowledge. So knowledge is subjective. It looks like, that only if two people agree, only then we can call it knowledge. No, it has to be your own experience. That is the minimum criteria. If two or three people agree, very good. You can compare the notes. I experienced this, you also experienced that, and the third person also experienced the same thing, and they are matching. So now you have more confidence that these things are true. So it does, something, if something is organized well, does not mean that it is really knowledge. Take a look. Don't worry about others. Don't worry about what is written in some book or this book or that book, or don't worry about what somebody else is saying. Why am I telling you all these things? Because I want you to take a look at your own mind. Do you find there any structures that are very well organized but lack any foundation? Just throw them away, or at least explore, experiment on them, try to find the truth. If you cannot, they are not knowledge. They are theories, they are assumptions, they are beliefs. It will be not very wise to act on them. So ignorance can be also organized. It can masquerade as knowledge. It can look like knowledge, but no, it is not. And we don't, on the path of knowledge, we don't worry about what people think is knowledge. We are worried about what I think is the knowledge, because that is going to have more implications. You see, what other thing is true, false knowledge, hardly matters. What I think is knowledge will be will have most implications for me. So don't worry if somebody says that they have 10 unicorns of different colors in their garden. I say yes, yeah, probably it is their knowledge, but not yours. So our knowledge matters most. Try to find holes in your knowledge. Try to find the vacant things which have no foundation in your mind, and then you will start replacing your ignorance with knowledge. Now, what is the use of knowledge? Why do we want knowledge? Because all of our actions, they originate from what we know. If we don't know something, our action is going to be random, or we won't take any action, or we will take actions based on beliefs or conditionings. So this is the only use of the knowledge, that the knowledge enables correct actions. Knowledge enables correct states of the mind. So if there is a lot of ignorance, there will be, all our actions there is a chance that all our actions will lead to misery, suffering, negativity, harm. This can be cleared by simply by gaining knowledge, replacing the ignorance with knowledge. Will that knowledge last? You must have seen this. As we progress, our knowledge gets refined. The last ignorance that we replaced with knowledge, and we thought, wow, I know something now, and that also gets replaced by something more refined. And then as you progress, even that becomes that starts looking like ignorance and is now replaced by something else. So is it true? Did you can you say that whatever you knew before was true, or what you know now is true, or they were less true and these things are more true? Actually, if you experience them at that time and you concluded something, then it was true that time, and it is still true now based on that experience. But if you have experienced something new now, and now the other things you come to know as your ignorance, then it is no more true. So our knowledge will get replaced by other knowledge. All knowledge is temporary. It will be replaced by something else sooner or later. So why is that? Why does knowledge keep changing? You see, because knowledge is a structure. Structure is made up of change. Change means it will be impermanent. It will be gone one day. Then what is the use of it? If it is gone, then why should I, even try to find the knowledge? And here the path comes into the picture. If you have decided to conduct your life based on knowledge, only then you need to gain knowledge. Otherwise, the ignorance is also perfect. You don't need to remove your ignorance. It is a doing of the Mother Nature. It is perfect. So there is no use of knowledge. It is not mandatory. It is not compulsory to gain knowledge. One can live the entire life in ignorance, believing whatever you want, But once you have decided on a path, then you cannot say that I won't have knowledge, but I want to go on this path. No, it is not possible. Then it becomes compulsory to gain knowledge. So if you have decided on a path of knowledge, only then you will find a use for it. Otherwise, no use. Knowledge is equal to ignorance. Ignorance is impermanent. So is knowledge. Now this is kind of going into depth of it, but why you will appreciate why knowledge is impermanent if you take a look at your experiences, because knowledge is derived from the experience, and experience is impermanent. Impermanence is the root of experience. So experiences keep changing, and that's why the structure that we call knowledge keeps changing. Now, fortunately for us, in our one lifetime, there won't be that much change, you see. So we can be confident that if we know something for certain, it is going to remain for a long time. So don't worry about this. I've taken a path, but then the knowledge will change. Is my path is it meaningful? Yes, it is meaningful because it will change, but it will take many lifetimes. Yeah, once if it changed totally, then that was not knowledge, that was ignorance, because probably the last experience was not organized on a solid foundation. So it is kind of tricky, but we'll go into the tricks also. We'll go into the depth also. So I think today I would be able to cover the whole thing. I'm only on the impermanence topic right now. So what will you get from the knowledge? Again, if you can apply the knowledge to your day-to-day life, then you will get whatever you're after. You need to first fix an aim. Knowledge will not bring you, things automatically. First, you need to have an aim. First, you need to have a goal. Let us say you want money. Let us say, take a practical example. How to get the money? Nobody's going to pay you money unless you do something. Do something for them, do something in return. Our societies are like this. So, how are you going to do something useful? Only if you have a skill. If you know something, you see, knowledge is at the basis of a skill. Skill will enable you a job, and the job will give you the money. To get a skill, you need to learn something. Learning is just experiencing, repeating the same experience again and again and again, and become, gaining a perfect understanding of the topic. And you apply that knowledge, and now you have the money that you wanted, and now you can get whatever you wanted. That is a materialistic example. Let us take an intellectual example. If you, let us say, you want peace of mind, how will you get peace of mind? This is your goal, and you need to know what things bring peace of mind. You will find that a desireless state of the mind will bring you the most peaceful peace in your life. From where are the desires coming? They are coming from ignorance. They are coming from this anxiety which is a belief that I must satisfy all the desires that I get. Yeah, we understand that we need to satisfy the basic needs, but not all. Most of the desires, once the needs are done, most of the desires are just trouble. They are not really needed. We don't need to satisfy them. So once this knowledge arrives, once you implement it, and you start rejecting most of the irrational desires that you have, and you'll find there is the peace of mind is the result, and you got that goal, achieved that goal. It totally depends on the goal, what you will get from the knowledge. But the bottom line of any thing is, any knowledge is that you will never get anything. what will happen is you will lose ignorance, and that produces produces the desired effect. Let us say last time we discussed the topic of happiness and freedom. So how to get the happiness? No, you cannot get it. That is a good goal, but don't run after it. All you need to do is get rid of suffering. Check what causes suffering, get rid of it, and what is left is happiness. So if there is a belief that happiness is to be found in objects and people and achievements and activities, you will never get it, because it is a belief. Check what is your experience. Experience says that you are most happy when you don't want anything, when you're totally content with what is. The happiest state is that when there are no more desires, no more fears, no more impulses in the mind. So you'll always find that knowledge will not give you anything. The knowledge will simply rid you of the ignorance. Now in spiritual teachings, they will tell you, know yourself and know your nature, know the nature of the world. It is an illusion. You are the truth, and everything else is false. And let us say you get this knowledge. What is this knowledge going to give you? Nothing actually. It will only get rid of a lot of things that you are burdening on the mind. So whatever happens after that is a result. Liberation happens after that. So it is the result of getting rid of these beliefs. See, the belief was that I am a separate self. The belief was that I am a body and mind, and the belief was that the world is real, and my life is here in this world. Otherwise, there is no meaning. Otherwise, there is nothing except this world. Actually, this is the belief most of the time. But it is good because that is your experience. Then okay. But a seeker, digs into the experience and finds what it is actually. So you will never get anything from the knowledge. This is the bottom line. You will lose many, many things that are unnecessary. A person of knowledge, person Jnani, who has tremendous amount of knowledge, will be most humble, will be most simple, will have nothing, will know nobody. Nobody will know them. The person won't be, a celebrity. That person won't be a king, and the person won't be a princess. Why is that? Because knowledge gives you nothing. If you want to evaluate your knowledge from a worldly point of view, no, you will not get anything. And so what is the path of knowledge? Do we walk the path of knowledge to get anything? No. We are on the path of knowledge to get rid of our beliefs, ignorance and assumptions, and the resulting stuff like suffering, misery, bondage, anger, hate, whatever is troubling you right now. If you want to get rid of all this, you will travel on the path of knowledge. So let us define it now, because now we have the foundation. We can clearly define the path of knowledge. What is the path of knowledge? What does it really mean? You must have heard this. I keep saying I'm on the path of knowledge, and probably you like it, try it. The path of knowledge is good, it is direct, and blah blah blah. Now, what does it really mean? Have you ever wondered? When I say these words, do they sound meaningful to you? Have you actually seen what I do? Never, isn't it? So you need to actually experience it before you even know what it means. So I'll just define it. Then it is your wish if you want to experience it. It is a lifestyle which is based on knowledge, not on ignorance, not on beliefs. The person who is on the path of knowledge, his or her all actions will come from solid knowledge. That is, in other words, will directly come from experiences, not from opinions, not from conditioning, not from the brainwashing. This is a very short description. There are more things that we do on the path of knowledge, but the most important is that it is Our lives are governed by knowledge, and all our actions are based on our experience, our knowledge, and our speech comes from knowledge. So, somebody who is on the path of knowledge, it will become impossible for that person to lie. It causes suffering actually. This is my experience. Lying will cause suffering. If you catch somebody lying, you will get angry. And this is, one of the implications, that you will find that the whole world is full of lies, deceives, deceptions, and people are full of beliefs, assumptions, and lies also. All their actions are illogical, and it will be a painful thing to live in this world. Now, this is a side effect, and I don't want to discourage you, because once you are on the path of knowledge, you will never want to go back to the path of ignorance again, however comfortable and safe that may sound. Even if it is painful for a while, even if our world is not made for people with knowledge actually. This is the current situation. So it will be a struggle, it will be a challenge to walk on the path of knowledge. But a seeker takes it up. Why? Because it is the challenge, you see. It is more fun to do challenging things than to repeat the boring stuff. So a seeker will take it up no matter what. And you will find that as a result of this kind of lifestyle, you will stop actually minding what others are doing, how the world is, and you will continue on your own path. You will even stop looking what is happening, because you are too busy, going ahead on your path. Your speed is very, very fast. The other things are, blurring past you. You don't you don't stop and look at them. This will happen. Initially, there will be a little bit of difficulty, but not much. So, life of a seeker on the path of knowledge is very different. Most of the activities of that seeker will be oriented towards gaining knowledge. A major portion of the day will be devoted to studies, to lectures, to experiences, actively gaining the experiences, experimenting, learning, and correcting the behaviors that happen due to ignorance. One of the things you will find you will become very, very busy doing is correcting your own mind. Suddenly you can see all the imperfections of your own mind. You will find that once you take up the path of knowledge, you will be busy in correcting your own mind, because once you have this knowledge that you cannot fix others, it is useless actually. It is not very fruitful to worry about others. You need to first worry about yourself, because you will find that you are, yourself in a complete mess, because the knowledge, starts clearing up the ignorance. Now you can see the problems in your own mind, in your life, your own life, in your own surrounding, your own relations, in your own jobs, and your own behavior. First thing you will start noticing is yourself. You need not worry about others actually. An ignorant person tries to fix others and situations. Somebody on the path of knowledge, the first thing they encounter is themselves. And you'll find that the mind is almost a total mess. It is noisy, screaming, always creating negativity, suffering, and your desires and impulses are pushing you, pulling you from all sides, and the life is hell. This is how we wake up.
That's very limited, didn't notice it before.
Yeah.
But it is nowadays.
Before that, ignorance is bliss, isn't it? You were, almost kind of walking asleep without knowledge. So you didn't pay attention to what is happening to you. You thought, these things give me pleasure, these things give me happiness, okay, and after that, these things I need to avoid, these people I need to avoid, stay away from them, or just simply get rid of them. And it was all extroversion, totally. The focus was outside. We are mostly extroverted when we are in ignorance. When the knowledge starts coming little by little, we start turning inwards. So lifestyle of a seeker on path of knowledge will look very, very ordinary, not very concerned with others. Only whenever it is needed, whatever is necessary will be done. But there will be, a 24/7, that seeker will be extremely busy correcting themselves. I'm very, very busy, but you will find me doing nothing. So this is kind of, funny that why don't I have time for going to movies? Why don't I have time to go to parties? What I'm doing? Come to my house, you'll find I'm actually doing nothing most of the time. Why is that? Because I'm very busy. I don't have time. So, and this is just one example of the life of a seeker, you see. And they will be busy, discussing the books, discussing the authors, discussing the stuff, instead of discussing other people, what my neighbors are doing, what the uncle of the, brother and this and that are doing. No time for that. They will be, watching satsangs, they will be listening to masters, and that will be a very different kind of lifestyle. So,
Right, and I've also noticed that I've started remembering things that I did before that I never even gave a thought about it long ago when it happened, and then you start feeling things about things that you've done before, and you start dissecting. I don't know. Does it make sense?
yeah, so we do a full life review once we start, seeing, and we see that our life has been a series of lessons, all giving us some knowledge. Now, ordinary people, their lives are exactly the same. They are also a series of lessons. But only a seeker dissects, like you said. Only a seeker actually actively learns, consciously learns from their lives. And once we learn, we know how to conduct them, conduct the life in the way we want. The freedom comes. And we learn the lessons very quickly after that. So there are many, it will take actually another full meeting if I want to discuss about the lifestyle of a seeker. Very different lifestyle, but only inwardly. Outwardly, they are like anybody else. No difference at all. You'll find the seeker gets angry. A seeker has partners. A seeker marries, has children. A seeker is doing a job, the same 9 to 5 slavery. There you won't find any difference. The difference will be inside. But once we start progressing, and obviously the inner content will spill over outside. So there will be implications of the knowledge, and the life will take a very, very different turn. And from the point of view of ordinary people, it won't make any sense. So instead of getting richer and richer and bigger and bigger with bigger bellies and bigger clothes and heavier jewelry, the person will be reduce, become simpler and simpler, minimalist life, simple speech, not doing much. So they will think that he is a failure. These people are losers. They don't do anything. Actually, they are doing a lot. Their direction is different. Their direction is inside. So
Or people start thinking that you're really weird. This person is losing their minds and stuff like that.
yeah, initially that will happen, but then because a seeker, because of the power of knowledge is power, isn't it? So power of knowledge, you will be able to cope with that situation. So because of the knowledge, the intelligence will go up, and you will be able to handle all kinds of people. And the way to
Start learning quite fast.
sorry, what did you say?
I said you learn how to adjust. I said.
Yeah, initially it will be difficult. Initially there will be conflicts, and there will be embarrassing situations, and either they will laugh or become angry, or try to harm you, try to do this or that, try to brainwash you back. But after a while, you will start. That is also a lesson. That is also life. So that is also an experience. So you will learn from it, and you will start handling those people correctly. And the way to handle is a lot of compassion, kindness, love, diplomacy, and lies. Now that it sounds very, very unspiritual. The first 3 words are okay, I agree with it, but diplomacy, doesn't that mean deception? Lies, isn't it unethical? No, you need to do that, and there is nothing ethical or unethical when you are on the path of knowledge. It is only useful or not useful. If it is harmful, obviously there will be consequences, and you won't do it. But if it is preventing harm, to yourself and others. And if the means is diplomacy, you will do it. Anyway, whatever we do, we choose, it always has consequences. You will learn this very quickly. Even the choice of not making any choice will have a consequence. So we choose very, very carefully. That's all we do. We go moment by moment. This is the path of knowledge, and now it's a big topic. We are on the topic of actually knowledge itself right now. So I think I won't be able to cover it today because I've reached only 50% of what is knowledge. So there are questions like, I've said words like true, false, certain, and logic, and all, what are these words, So we will go to the depth of these words, what is true, what is false, how to know if something is true or false, and what are the qualities that your mind should have in order to even know something. What are the states that are more desirable for gaining knowledge, and what do these words, certainty and all those things mean. So we will check it out in the next meeting.
Pure experiences.
You were listening to Pure Experiences by Tharun Pradhan. For more, please visit pureexperiences.blogspot.in.